Welcome back. If you're looking to start the new year with some new and interesting recipes, we've got a couple of ideas for you. Charmian Christie is here with a few easy ways to incorporate legumes into your diet. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for asking me.
So now beans, things like that, not really a popular ingredient to use at home. Why is that?
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. People are afraid that they take too long to cook, but if you do present them with the bean dish, they often say, oh, well, no, I can't. Gives me gas. So actually that I think is the biggest deterrent, and it's actually something that you can get over very easily. If you pre-soak your beans or your lentils before you use them, the starches that cause the gas go into the water and you dump that water off. The other thing is you don't have to jump into it like if you go to the gym after not exercising for a long time, you don't hop on the treadmill and run 5K. You ease into it. So if you do want to get more beans and legumes into your diet, ease into it. A couple of tablespoons on a salad, maybe a handful of legumes into a bowl of soup. We're going to make some tahini later. You don't have to eat it as a dip. You can actually spread it on a sandwich. So ease into it, and then you won't have the same problems.
And you're talking about soaking them. How long do they have to be sitting in water for before you cook them?
Technically, the best way to do it is to soak the 1 part beans to 2 part waters for 8 hours. And people go, 8 hours? Well, you sleep for 8 hours or you go to work for 8 hours. So put them on in the morning and cook them at night when you come home from work, or do it at night before you go to bed and cook them in the morning.
Okay, is 8 hours the max? Will they start to
You can leave them longer.
Okay.
You don't want to go 24 hours because then they'll begin to sprout and you'll have, a new life forming. But it's 12 hours. It's not going to be a huge difference. And if you're really worried, you can put them in the fridge and have them soak in the fridge.
Okay. Why would you do it that way rather than buying canned beans?
Canned beans are great. I always have canned beans in the house because they're very handy. But if you cook them yourself, you control the salt. You also control the cost. They're a quarter of the price of a tinned bean.
Oh, wow.
You also control the texture. I find that if I pre-soak the beans and I cook them myself, they keep their form much better. So if I'm making tahini, it doesn't matter. I'm chopping up those beans, and then I won't add as much salt to the final product. But if you're on a low salt diet, if you look at a tin of beans, they can be very, very high. So this is just one way of taking control of your diet.
Absolutely. And can you freeze them then after they've been cooked?
That's one of the advantages. I make a big batch when I cook, use about 2 cups is what 1 can of beans would be, and then I freeze them in 2-cup increments, so in a Ziploc bag, and I've got lots and lots in the freezer, and they defrost very quickly.
Okay, perfect. So we are going to be whipping up some hummus today.
We are going to make some hummus. Now what I've done with this is not a traditional hummus, and it's very mild, so it's quite accessible. But a lot of people have trouble with tahini. They can't find it, or they have to buy this big vat, and they only need a tablespoon. So what I've done here is I've made up a version that uses Balkan yogurt or sour cream if you want, and it makes it a little creamier, but then you don't have to deal with tahini and leave it in the fridge and wonder if it's going to go bad.
Okay, perfect. Where do we start?
Well, we start basically with the garlic. Now, garlic, again, is something that you can control in the recipe. If you like it really, really garlicky, a whole bunch of garlic. You don't like garlic so much, a little garlic. Okay. So I've got a huge clove of garlic here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a knife, put the knife on it flat, and then whack it with your fist. Just,
oh gosh, we know how these things go on.
Perfect. There you go. What you've done is you've just basically peeled it already, if I can get my hands in here, and then you could have hit it harder too. It doesn't matter. You want to chop off that little bit there. Yeah, chop at the end, then we dump it in here, and we put the food processor on, pulse it to break it up. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Great. Now the rest of it is just going to be, this is 2 cups of chickpeas. Okay. And you can use white kidney beans to have a different sort of hummus. It really doesn't matter. You can get creative. This is just to kind of get you out of the rut of I have to buy it. 2 tablespoons, that's a 2 tablespoon measure. Not the liquid stuff, the solid stuff. Right in there.
All right.
And you can always add more if you want. A teaspoon of cumin.
Now I'm not being extremely accurate here, but
you can add more.
We're crunched for time. So.
Crunch for time. Okay, I didn't realize that.
No, that's
I talked too long. I'm going to do some lemon right now. I like fresh lemon versus bottled lemon because the fresh lemon doesn't have a metallic taste. Okay. And so what I've done is I've got this teeny tiny little measuring cup. I've only got 2 tablespoons. I want 4, but no, we're going to try it anyway. Okay. I'm going to pulse it again. And then we're going to pour in the top as it's going. A couple tablespoons, you can use olive oil, but this is canola oil.
Okay.
And that's just going to soften it up a bit. Is it catching? Okay, if it's catching, stop. And then you push it down. And
We almost had to mess
try
it
it again. Try it again. And you can see how it's blending very nicely again. If you want more lemon, that'll soften it up too. I like about a quarter cup. Oops, there we go. Pour it in. And that'll
There
get
we
as
go.
smooth, yeah, it just needed a little more lemon. You can add more Balkan yogurt, or if you had tahini, this is where you would add the tahini.
Okay.
And you make it as solid or as liquid as you like. And then this is
And into the dish
ready
it goes.
into the dish. And then you can dip it with vegetables. Pita is traditional, but I know everybody's trying to be really healthy right now. So
Okay.
we would use some vegetables. And there you have as garlicky, no tahini variation of hummus. It's
Great.
very healthy.
Thanks for being with us. Really
you so
appreciate
much.
it. You can find the link to Charmian's very entertaining blog and the recipe by going to our website, swo.ctv.ca, and clicking on links and numbers. Time for a break. Ahead in sports, the Griffins host the Warriors in local university basketball.